Hello, this is Mad Cat, and welcome to another edition of Boobs and Dicks Smash the Matriarchy. Despite what the title says, it is Matriarchy with a Y, not with just Matriarch. I just bad typist. And this is episode 21. Last week we did 22 because it was Vanessa's birthday, her 22nd birthday. So this week we're making up for the fact that we skipped a number. Anyways, we got a great show for you today. As always, I am Dix.
And I am Boobs.
We got a special guest with us today, kind of a last-minute thing, but a big honor for me. He is the Blue Cthulhu Zoidberg.
Yes.
Omegon, how are you doing today, sir?
I am very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. I love your voice. You have such a soothing British accent. I feel like you're like going to take over the world or something.
Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, according to recent comments, I am a hateful, woman-hating, bigoted, fascist, neo-Nazi that lives in his mother's basement. I make videos like you guys do, bashing women, of course, because that's what I like to do. That's about it, really. I'm just not a very nice person, according to
You're in the right place.
Yeah. Oh, and I drink way too much coffee.
I'm getting there.
Well, that's okay. I don't drink coffee at all, but occasionally I have the energy drink. Of course, this one's empty. Bastards!
Oh, that's oppression there.
Yeah. Well, let us go ahead and get started with our show today. It's going to be just an easy one today. Here we go. This is from True Equality Blog, which feminists and all human must demand are given equal to males in order to be genuinely supportive of true equality, honesty, and sanity. I'm sorry, but we can't have equality, honesty, and sanity. We can only have two of the three.
Feminist and all humans. Okay.
So this was posted last week on Facebook. One of my friends created this list of the female privilege checklist, which was in response to the male privilege checklist. And I thought we'd just go through a few of these today and discuss them. There's 96 of them. We probably won't make it through all 96, but let's just see what we can come up with today. So we'll start with number 1. From an early age, the opposite sex will be instructed to never hit me, but I may not be given the same instruction. However, should I strike males, I can expect not to be hit back, or any social penalties that occur from my actions will actually fall on the male.
Yep. Yeah, I experienced this completely. I don't know if you guys have ever been hit by little girls, but I remember I never used the argument like, you can't hit me, I'm a girl, but I would use the fact that I'm a girl to hit some other little kids. Like, no lie, I would go up and be like, just like slap them, like for really trivial. Like I would like laugh it off. It wasn't like a mean thing. Well, it was a mean thing, but it wasn't me trying to be mean thing. You know what I mean? And then as I grew up, I told Mad Cat about it one time. This kid, or this guy it was high school actually. I went up to him and he was sitting in my seat in fucking like study hall. So there were no assigned seats, but I really liked that seat. So he wouldn't move, and I just punched him right in the ear. And he was my friend. And then I saw how upset he got, and I was like, shit. But yeah, it's fucked up.
Yeah, my sisters when I was younger, they were told. My dad told them repeatedly, never hit boys.
Oh, that's good.
And especially don't hit them downstairs. One of them, my older sister, ignored that. She just does it,
Oh
on
no.
instinct. Hits guys in the balls. She's a man hater. Fine. But also I was told never to hit girls, and so at like the age of 9, this girl lived across the street from us. She's like 6 years older than me. Fucking hammer threw me by my hair, like long as your hair, right? She wanted to fight me. So I put my hands behind my back. I'm not allowed to hit a girl. Grabs my hair, hammer throws me. My dad finds out, and he's embarrassed. I'm like, what? You fucking told me not to hit a girl, you cock. Yeah,
Oh
nice.
my god.
Can't hit girls. No consequences for her either. I just, shame on the family,
Wow.
Well, I don't know if I've
Distance on
ever really experienced a situation where, maybe a girl hit me and I couldn't hit her back. But, I often tell the story about like I once wore sandals to school one day because my parents forced me. I didn't want to.
Yay.
And, during recess, they're right outside our school building, or the classroom building. One girl just started laying in on me how I'm wearing girl shoes. Like, oh, you're wearing girl shoes. Haha, you're a girl. And, I came up with the argument, well, it's like if I'm wearing girl shoes, that means you're wearing boy shoes because she was wearing tennis shoes. Well, the teacher overheard that. Somehow she didn't overhear anything else, but she heard me say, you're wearing boy shoes. I got in trouble for it. And when I explained that I was just defending myself because I was accused of wearing girl shoes, it's like, well, you just don't do that to girls. So they suffered no consequence for engaging in name calling. And when I just returned it, I was the one responsible.
Yep.
No, if you terrorized a girl.
Yeah, I believe it. That's terrible.
Number 2, if I'm not smart but pretty, I can marry and achieve the social and financial level of my husband without ever working.
I need some tips and tricks on how to do that. Oh, but yeah, oh my god. That video though that I sent you, that girl wasn't even pretty, Mad Cat. The one that I sent you, but she was somehow making a great living.
For those who don't know, we'll show this video on Tuesday, but basically it's a girl who makes a living being a sugar baby.
Yep.
Oh, I've seen girls like that. They go on several holidays a week or something, and they just get it paid for by their sugar daddy. I see them in the news all the time.
Yeah.
Live the high life for free.
And I do love that she tries to, do some mental gymnastics like, this isn't prostitution because a prostitute just shows up, does the service, take the money, and leave. And I don't do that. It's completely different. It's like, no, you're a prostitute.
A very high-paid prostitute.
Yeah, I mean...
You seriously, I hope you put out so well.
I don't really have a problem with it so much as the snobbishness that comes from these women. Like somehow they're somehow better than everyone else. And that if you say you're basically, getting money for sex, it's like somehow you've insulted them. It's like, own up to what you do. It's like a porno star saying, I'm not a porn star. I just have sex and sometimes we do videos and I get paid here and there, but it's not porn.
Yeah, yeah. Imagine if Mercedes said that. Oh my god.
I couldn't imagine her because she is so powerful as a woman who will just say, yeah, I do porn. I'm a slut. I'm a whore.
Yeah.
I'm a cunt. I love her.
I'm a slimy motherfucking twat, bitch.
All right. Number 3, I can produce offspring, a status which grants me an essential status in our species that men can never have, which can never be taken away from me, even in old age.
Yep. Yep. Oh yeah. Mothers and grandmothers are fucking put on a high ass pedestal.
Grandmothers definitely. In my family, certainly, the grandmother was like, yeah,
The
she was the
matriarch.
highest sort of the matriarch. Yeah, basically. Can't really refute it.
Well, no, this really speaks volumes too, because we really undervalue the role of the father in the first world, even though there have been studies that have shown that having a father in a child's life can actually make them a more complete person, to be more successful in life. And even then, we still like really look down on fathers in any way we can.
If only I didn't have daddy issues.
That's hot.
I know, right?
Well, that's why I keep you around, is for all your data issues. Wow, awkward silence.
That was amazing.
I was waiting for you to read the next one.
And it looks like NC Clark has invaded our little
NC Clark
channel
is
here.
a dirty weeb.
Sure, she'll love all of these. All right, number 4. Regardless of my mate's value, society has organized fertility clinics and social welfare programs that will allow me to have children and provide for them should I choose to reproduce without a mate or marriage.
I've only just recently discovered this to be true, because one of my sisters is having a child through IVF, and she's found that there are things that help her do all of this and support her, which surprised me.
In vitro fertilization?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Is that what it is? IVF? In vitro?
That sounds
Well,
about right.
I was just guessing. I've only heard like the actual like words spelled out, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, that's how one of my friends was conceived. If I was ever to, oh no, I don't think I'm ever gonna have a child out of my body. But if if I wanted someone else to have my child, that's how I do it.
Yeah, why not? And have them raise the child too. Saves you a whole lot of hassle.
But you know, it's like we're this is what I think the future is going to be, that because men are basically checking out of marriage, which they should be doing, women are going to start using this option, and children are going to be raised even more fucked up because they'll have no idea who their fathers are.
Oh, actually, if you want to be more fucked up, right? Okay. Did you see the did you see Bearing's video today about the girl that's transitioning to male but has had a sperm donor to have a child while mid-transition?
Damn.
Now, there's something about that. I don't really want to say it's fucked up, but there's something very, confusing about it.
Wasn't there like a South Park episode where it revealed that Cartman's mom was actually her father or something?
Yeah, I remember that back in the day.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Cartman went on a whole hunt. I think it was like over a couple of episodes to find out who his father was.
Yeah.
At one point, it was the Harlem Globetrotters or something.
Yeah, that's an old episode. But
Oh yeah.
so that child is going to grow up. It's like, I'm your father, even though I gave birth to you. No, that's just so. I don't even know where to begin with that one. I think my mind just like.
Wait, which one did you just read? My fucking thing
Yeah,
cut
which
out.
one was that?
We were still talking about the fertility clinics.
Oh right, sorry.
And he mentioned about a trans man, basically female to man, who's also going to get pregnant and have a child during her transition to being a man.
Don't you think the hormones are bad for the fucking baby? Did they ever think about that?
Well, these women don't care about the baby. That's why they're so quick to get an abortion. That's why they want, like, after term abortion. It's like, hey, the baby's been born 18 years. I want an abortion.
Look, son, you're in your 30s now. I just had an abortion. You're not real.
All right.
I wish we could do abortions on people who are out of the womb. Personally.
All right. Number 5. I not only have the more valuable and sought after sexual identity, but I also have complete control over my reproductive choice and in many ways over the reproductive choice of the opposite sex.
Yeah. Very, very true. That reminds me of that big chart or whatever that Cassie J did in the Red Pill movie of all the different women have and how many men have.
Yeah. Well, I think that was also based on Warren Farrell's discussion on this very issue, like talking about all the things that women can do, like they can give it up for adoption, they can choose to raise it by themselves, they can choose to have the man involved, or they could choose to leave it at a fire department. All of these options, the only choices a man gets is that he can pay money, or pay money.
Yeah.
There seems to be a trend here.
Right.
But
it's
I think
almost like they want something.
But I also think this goes a little bit also into male genital mutilation, because it's like a woman's body, her choice, and somehow circumcision becomes a part of a woman's choice. It's like, my body, I get to choose to cut off his penis if I want to. And it's like,
well, you should cut off your clit head along with him.
Sharing is caring.
Sorry, I said that wrong.
No, fuck it. Let's commit to the first one.
Yeah. Perfect.
But I mean, that does greatly affect.
Said, what's your guys' opinion on financial abortions? Like opting out of paying for it? Is that what she means?
What's up?
I've heard that.
NC Clark in the chat. She said, what are you guys' opinion on financial abortions?
Oh, it just now loaded up for me. My thing's slow. My opinion on the financial abortions is that it is absolutely necessary. So long as we have abortion, women can get abortions, men need to also have abortions as well. They should be able to abort themselves out of the responsibility of raising a child.
Wasn't that something, there was a country, I believe, who it was proposed by a party, I think in Sweden, to institute something like that. And it was like the first time I thought, wow, Sweden's got something I can actually agree with.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I believe that it initially passed, but I don't know if it actually came into law. Sweden has a weird political system.
But yeah, said note. She said, "Note biological father. If he marries her, he still has to pay."
Yeah, if you're not married and you get a girl pregnant, and if she has the option for abortion, a man should have an option for abortion. He should be able to just say, you know what, I don't want anything to do with the child. I give up all my rights. And you know what? Most women would actually support this. They're like, well, I don't want the father involved anyways. And there are times where women do this, and the only reason why the fathers are held for financial responsibility is because the state, because they try to get state benefits, like, maybe food stamps or medical care. And the state's like, hey, we don't want to pay the bill. Let's go after the father. Who was the father? And it's like, well, this was who's the father is, but I don't want him involved. It's like, too bad. We're going to get him involved, and force him to pay everything, even though he didn't even know there was a child that did exist. And this is actually what happened for one guy who was raped. He was 13 years old, and his female teacher raped him, got pregnant, and when he turned 18, the state came after him for like, you haven't paid child support for the last 5 years.
Fucking hell. Oh, that's.
Can you imagine if a woman, a 13 girl, got pregnant, I somehow stole the baby or something, and then she turns 18 and he's like, "Oh, you gotta pay child support for this baby I fucking made you have with no consent." Yeah.
Well, it could never happen. Not for the fact that it's such an implausible situation, but because the state never comes after women to pay child support. They only come after the men.
Yep. See, it's funny because it's like women and children are so like really, like they're closely, like bunched in with each other. And yet somehow when it comes to child support, it's like, oh no, woman has no responsibility whatsoever.
Yeah, the child support one's very interesting because obviously
not the dad.
Yeah, it brings up the subject of parental custody as well, because it's still fairly there's certainly the caregiver argument is normally the one given for children going to the mother, even if the mother is herself somewhat abusive or the father can't afford to raise the children or look after the children.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even if even if the woman isn't unfit, can't afford kid because he's paying all this fucking child support, he's fucked.
Yeah, we in our country we have, I think if I was looking at the numbers for single parents, it's like 2 million or something single mothers or something, and a couple 100,000 single fathers, parents, and the benefit system in this country is so good. So good. You don't have to worry about child support because honestly, you don't have, the mother is not given an incentive to work, nor the father to an extent, but there is more chance of him losing it. Certainly from what I've been looking at, it's very gendered.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way it is here in the United States, is that, well, as I mentioned, the state doesn't want to pay. Now, to be fair, the state couldn't possibly pay every single person that would qualify. So they have to find a way to make their money somewhere else, and that means coming after the fathers. And, I even knew a guy who was with the girl for a little while time, and then they broke up, and she decided to get into a lesbian relationship, found out she was pregnant with his child, and decided not to tell him at all. He had no idea. And the only way he found out that he had a child was that the state mailed him a letter saying, we're going to start doxing your pay because you have this child that you haven't paid for.
That's actually happened to somebody in my family, where one of my cousins, he had a one-night stand and he knew nothing until the child was 2 years old. And it's like, he's then backdating all this child support, and it's like, are you fucking kidding me? He doesn't. Not only that, he's not allowed to see the child.
That's what I don't understand. How are they allowed? You can never see this human being that you never even knew about, but you still have to pay for it. How does that make any sense? How?
It doesn't.
It really doesn't. I was watching. I sent Mad Cat a link to this. I think it was a woman who went on the Jeremy Kyle show, and she the first time she came on, she brings this guy on who she thinks is the baby's father, and she says, "Oh, he doesn't do anything. He he just sits around, doesn't pay for anything. He doesn't try to be his dad or whatever." And then the next time she comes on again, the guy, like the host, he like chewed into the dude. He kept saying, he was like a waste of space and all this shit. And then the next one, and she says she doesn't know if it's the actual father or not.
Oh, that's amazing. I
Yep.
don't watch those shows normally, but I've seen one that had me in hysterics with one woman coming on, doing a DNA test with a guy, not him, another guy, not him. Whittled it down 4 times, still not the father. And I don't watch it. I was sat in a hospital. It's the only reason I was watching this, and it just made me laugh. So I was like, can I slut shame this woman now? Can I, please?
Oh God. Yeah, I mean, like this girl, I don't understand how these women, like, I'm gonna be totally honest. The people that come on the Jeremy Kyle show, they don't got the best teeth.
Please don't mock my people.
They're of the UK, and this girl, damn ugly, no offense. But I don't understand how she got to have sex with 2 dudes in the same month. That's what I'm confused about. Because she was sitting there with her ugly face, just like smiling and laughing the entire time.
Okay, modern Melissa, you have to understand that when you give anal to a girl, you don't have to look her in the eyes.
Also, there's the 6-month rule. But
well, that's the thing. They obviously weren't doing anal because one of them got her pregnant.
He slipped. There was a joke a comedian once. I don't remember the joke exactly, but the whole premise was that guests on Jeremy Kyle are found outside the bargain shops and just collected by bus and delivered to Jeremy Kyle.
Oh my God!
I don't remember who's. I think it was Frankie Boyle that said it. It's just it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I had never seen it before last night, and then I just went on like a binge.
Find a video of him getting punched in the face by somebody. It's very good.
Yeah, there's just so many of those
him.
situations, though, on those kinds of shows. It's too funny.
All right, let's go ahead and skip ahead. We've kind of already talked about some of these things. Now, this one's a little bit untrue, but we can go ahead and discuss it. I am granted all the rights of a democracy without any of the burdens of military service.
This one is changing slightly, I believe.
Technically, they don't have to yet.
So I guess it will hold up, but I think it's not as strict as it was before.
Well, I can't speak for the UK. I know that men and women got voting rights about the same time, I think right at the end of World War I.
Mm-hmm.
But men in the United States, they were required to sign up for selective service, but that actually didn't have anything to do with voting. And that's a common misconception people have. They think that in order to vote, you have to sign up for selective service. That's actually not true. The reason why voting and selective service come into play is that during the 1980s, if you did not sign up for selective service, and it could be proven that you did it because you didn't support the government, you could be sent to jail. And when you're sent to jail, then you lose the ability to vote.
That voting argument has popped up in our parliament a few times. It's certainly a very interesting discussion. Should convicts be allowed to vote while they're in prison? I say no, but whatever.
I say no to that one, but I mean, I guess it would have to depend on the crime and how much time they served. And
yeah, I mean, it only popped up because the EU were trying to force a law upon us a few years back that said that we had to let them vote. So like, no, fuck off. They did bad. They lose the rights. Sorry. Tally ho.
I mean, if you kill someone or rape someone, no, you don't have a right to vote. But then again, I don't think you should be going to prison for smoking marijuana. Yeah. Nor should you be losing your ability to vote for smoking marijuana and being sent to jail for that.
You have a 3-strike system, right?
Yeah, most of our...
Can you imagine your third one being that? That is so shitty.
Well, and that's their excuse for trying to get bad people put behind bars. I mean, Al Capone, I think it was that they got him for tax evasion. They couldn't get him for anything else but tax evasion. And they felt justified that that was okay. Now, tax evasion is bad, don't get me wrong, but it's this mentality of, if I can't get you for the crimes that I know you've committed, I will get you for a lesser crime if it means getting you off the streets. That's fundamentally flawed, because if you get that one person off the streets, someone will fill the void. It's just a continuous cycle of criminals constantly committing crime.
It's certainly a flawed method just to get rid of them. Kind of, yeah, it's not right. And Al Capone was a role model.
Warped Reflection actually puts this well. No, they shouldn't be allowed to vote until they've done their time. So if there was a way to draw the line on this issue, I think that would be where I draw the line. It's like they cannot vote when they're in prison. They have to have served their time and not. Let's even say this: they cannot be on parole. They have to be fully distance themselves from their punishment, that they're now allowed to be an active member of society. Then they can vote again. That's where I would draw the line. All right, let's... I
hope that's the thumbnail.
What?
The buffering picture of Medusa with the microphone.
Well, it's
the thumbnail.
No, it's not the thumbnail. My computer is pretty bad. It won't. It used to be able to play the video while I do these streams. Now it won't, probably because my computer sucks and I need people to donate to my Patreon. Oh, that seemed kind of dirty of me.
Congratulations, nice segue.
Yeah, well,
okay. Medusa did the same thing with different poses, different tiers. You get different poses.
There we go. If you donate to my Patreon, I'll try to convince Modern Medusa to get a picture of her tits.
Wait. What about a picture of my tits?
All right, let's go ahead and move on. Number 9. When I marry a man with status...
I thought we were on 8.
I'm skipping 8 because we kind of already talked about this. Right. When I marry a man with status, I can take his name and become whoever he has spent years becoming. I need not do anything special to be worthy of receiving the reputation he has built. However, if I wish to keep my own name, I can do so. Should my husband feel the sting of this insult, I can simply call him a sexist for it.
Yeah, there is a certain element of not having to earn respect, and that is true. If it's the other way around, a guy could be mocked in certain circles for marrying a woman with status and taking her name. I guess didn't harm Jack White too much, guitarist. So.
Well, yeah, you're perfectly correct on that one. That if a man tries to marry up, it's kind of looked down upon him. That's like, oh, well, you're just marrying this rich woman so you can, have a bigger social status. But then we look at this video that we'll be playing on Tuesday about this sugar baby who's doing exactly that. I mean, she's not taking someone else's name, but she's taking the privilege of all of these men spending money on her, and she does nothing to earn it. I mean, yeah, she has a bachelor's degree, but she's not using that bachelor's degree to get her anything. And there are a lot of women who try to marry men who are rich, and we should be the society tells us we need to celebrate these women for landing a whale, which is what they're called.
Yeah.
Number 10 kind of goes into that a little bit. People will help me when I'm in need, and I will receive no social penalty or stigma for it.
I'd say in most cases that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, consider Anita Sarkeesian. I mean, she's gotten like so much money through donations, and she's done very little to actually earn the money that she's earned. You know, the money that's been awarded to her, she's blown it all away, basically.
Did she actually finish her series this time on time?
Are you talking about Anita?
Anita Sarkeesian? I just saw Monday Matt's video on the...
Yeah, I noticed that earlier. I forgot to watch it.
He does go in there. He basically says that she hasn't finished her tropes versus women series.
No, she still hasn't finished that. She moved away from that.
Well, she was supposed to finish it up earlier this last year. Like they were going to do 5-minute segments instead of 30-minute segments just to finish it up. And she still hasn't finished it up.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's embarrassing.
But no, as Monday Matt has said, is that most likely what she's going to do is she's going to start going back to video games because that's what brought the money in.
Yeah, is she still registered as a charity though, or is she finally going to sort of like register as a business?
She's not a charity; she's a non-profit.
Non-profit, right? The bullshit one, yes.
Yeah, but she's broken the rules on that many times. But I don't think the IRS is ever going to go after her.
Too. I invest all my money in whiskey because I'm non-profit.
Oh.
That pose though.
Fucking attack my feet.
All right, so when I'm on a date, things will be paid for me.
I've seen that change recently. Not a lot. Girl, like I was a waitress for a while. I've seen more girls paying for their half or paying all the way. So that, and I do it really pretty often. So I think the new generation is a little more equal with that. But
I'm
older
a little
generation,
old-fashioned, but yeah, I do like the idea that people offer, at least. But I'm old-fashioned. I'd rather be the one that paid.
Yeah. Well, this couple came in, and is it going to be a separate check or together? And when I came back with their check, they were like, or the guy was like, do couples really come in here and split the check? And I was like, yeah, they do it all the time. And he was like, see, that doesn't seem like a date to me. You know, that seems more like a funny. I was like, yeah, I guess, you know, things are starting to a little bit.
When I see a date negotiate on the tip or on the bill, like they're negotiating who pays for what, I'm like, this isn't a fucking date. What the hell is this?
It is nice if she pays for the tip. Giggity.
You know what Medusa
Yeah,
pays?
we need a world where women start paying for the tip. We are talking about the penis, right?
Yeah. You pay for that tip.
Actually, this has come into some controversy also because there's now a app where men and women can like meet on and date and all of that. But then after the date, he can send a bill to her saying, well, this is how much you owe for the date, which is usually half.
That's awesome.
But it has come under fire by feminists like, this is completely sexist to require women to pay for dates.
Oh, that's brilliant.
I mean, if she's a bitch, I would definitely do it. If she's nice, I would be fine and with paying it. But if she's a bitch,
she's really nice. She'll pay for it.
I would totally say.
Well, and then there are the articles by feminists who are saying that, you know, they want to be treated equally and be empowered and be strong women, but it's still perfectly okay to let a man pay for the meal.
You mean
and
basically
they use arguments like, well, women make less money than men do, so it's okay to let them pay for my meals.
Oh my god, that is fucking hilarious. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, there's an article I read that once mentioned the wage gap as a reason why it's okay to let men pay for dates.
Oh yeah, but at the same time they have some pubs, is it in New York, is it, that have a day specifically for women to get cheaper drinks or something, or up the price of men's drinks. Oh,
ladies' night, yeah. We have that here.
Oh,
very progressive.
Number 12, when I search for employment, I can choose jobs which I think are fulfilling without concern of whether they provide a family wage.
If the job's purpose, if the entire reason is to support your family, then that's pretty irresponsible.
Yeah, I pretty much pay for myself.
So I have no like responsibilities past bills.
Well, what this is saying, though, is that, if you have a family, you should be, when you search for a job, you should be concerned about the welfare of your family. But women, more often than not, since they have a husband who has to be concerned about that, can instead choose a career that doesn't really take care of the family, but only takes care of her own intellectual concerns.
That reminds me of something. Oh, is it Islamic families where the wife has to get permission to work, but she doesn't have to use a single penny of it to provide for the family? The husband has to use his money to support the family.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe that is under Sharia law. Like that's another thing also, that men under Sharia law can have multiple wives, but he has to provide each wife and their children a separate home to live in. I mean, I'm not saying Sharia law is good or anything. It's just that it's not as male-centric as people think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Not like he can have 20 wives and stuff them all down in the basements. Like, it's my... God, I forget what the... Haram or whatever? I forget what they're called.
Harem?
Absolutely haram.
Harem.
Harem.
More than one wife is
Harem.
harem.
That's what I was thinking of. Harem.
Oh, sorry, I was thinking of something else. Fuck it.
I can discriminate against the opposite sex ruthlessly without social penalty. That's starting to change a little bit, but not fast enough.
Mm.
Women still can say, because it's like, oh my God, I've been seeing so much stuff lately about, there was this video that I think Elizabeth Dobson showed me of this woman in Seattle, like screaming like Black Lives Matter. And, no, it wasn't her. It was Unvarnished Void. She just uploaded a video about this woman claiming how white people need to give her everything. They need to give up their homes, and how capitalism is horrible and how men are so horrible. And we just see so much of this that it is still very much anti-male, especially with Trump in office. Everything is now anti-male. But if I even suggest, something negative about a woman, I'm like, well, I'm basically equivalent to Omegon, who's a sexist, racist, all those things.
Woman-hating, yeah. If I now said to Medusa, "Oh, you're so ugly, you only attract cockroaches," it would be considered like true misogyny.
Oh God! Hate crime!
Hate crime.
Okay. If I marry and quit my job and enjoy a leisurely life with light housework and then later divorce, I'll be given half of the marital assets.
Yep.
Yeah, I never understood how courts decided how, what constituted having earned what the husband, or where the balance was to deserve based on
what it actually is. And my mother's going through a divorce right now, and her ex-husband, the bum that he is, and I did like him until he started doing all this stuff, now wants half of the house. Well, actually, he wants ownership of the house, but probably be awarded half. Not because he really wants the house, but because he wants the cash payout of it. But what it really is if you get married and then divorce, how much is your wife entitled? It's basically, what is your lifestyle and how much is it going to cost for your wife to maintain that lifestyle now that you're no longer together?
Oh, actually, that reminds me not of something. Then I have a question then in that respect. Okay, so there was this couple that were together in the late 80s. They were together, married for 1 year or 2 years, I think. They had a child, divorced. 10 years later, the ex-husband starts making a lot of money off renewable energies, and
Yeah,
is
I
now
remember
worth
that.
right. And now the ex-wife is entitled to money he made from that. Not the amount she was up to, like 1 point something million. The courts have said she's not entitled to that, but she's entitled to hundreds of thousands of pounds from him. But they were only. But what for? If he didn't pay child support, I can understand it. But the way our system works, he would have been paying child support through a system that we already have, and she would have had it deducted from her benefits. So what the fuck?
Well, I remember the court's reasoning on that is it's your children and your ex-wife. She deserves a house to live in, so that's what you're going to pay for, is for her to move into a house. Because again, in this case, the state didn't want to fork over the money for her, and someone has to pay it. So now let's make it the ex-husband, whose money had nothing to do with his ex-wife at all. She weaseled her way into this using the excuse of, oh, well, if I don't get any money, then my kids will live on the streets. Whoa, we don't want kids living on the streets. Man, give her some money, stop being stingy. That's basically what it is. I mean, this
Who
system
cares if the guy's
originated...
driven into debt till he goes to jail?
What's up?
I said, who cares if the guy's driven into debt until he goes to jail?
In this instance, it's lucky the guy has a castle.
Damn.
And the son lives with the father anyway.
Yeah.
Who
Courts
works for his
don't care.
company, in fact.
Well, this system originated from back when women weren't really required to have jobs or education. And it's like, well, if she gets a divorce, then she doesn't have any way of taking care of herself. And it was only meant as a... I can't think of the word, but basically give her enough money until she can learn how to take care of herself, and then she no longer needs her husband's money. She can then do work herself and take care of herself. The problem is that the system never went away. Now that women are fully capable of caring for themselves and getting an education, but the system still remains. That's probably the reason why Robin Williams killed himself, is because he would get married and then these women would divorce him, and then he's required to pay them millions of dollars every year.
That reminds me of John Cleese as well, of Monty Python fame, and
Yeah.
Boris Becker, the tennis player, as well. But they're the kind of guys that keep getting married again. Stop doing it. You're going to have to keep working into your late 90s, and you're just doing it because you can't not be married.
Well, I think in John Cleese's case, wasn't he married for like 20 years?
Well, he's been married a couple of times, I think.
Okay.
And Boris Becker's the same. He's been married a few times, and every single time it was paying out a phenomenal amount of money. I think John Cleese called one of his comedy tours like paying alimony or something like that. The alimony tour.
Yeah.
Which I thought was quite good.
So, I feel bad for these men having to pay alimony up into the millions. I mean, $1 million alone would be enough to take care of me probably the rest of my life, but then $100 is a lot of money to me.
It's a lot of money to me. I am kind of glad the idea of a prenuptial agreement exists, but I have a strange feeling they could be, like, broken.
Yes. There are many cases.
It can if someone cheat or whatever, or something.
It
Or if they do
depends on the
something that
conditions they're in, but
Yeah.
courts can easily overturn them if they want.
Yeah.
Warped reflection. My bro's deal with his ex-wife was he left her the house and all the shit in it, and he wouldn't pay her a penny.
Right.
Interesting.
All right, so 15. If I commit a crime and am convicted, I will get a sentencing discount because of my gender. If I'm very pretty, I will increase my discount.
Isn't there a about women serving lesser terms for the same crime?
Yes.
And I guess that's affected certainly by circumstance, maybe beauty aspect.
Well, beauty certainly plays a part in it. We see these teachers that have sex with underage students often getting a slap on the wrist, although that's starting to change.
Yeah.
But it's like if we actually look in the news, the more beautiful ones seem to serve no jail sentencing at all, whereas the more ugly ones seem to serve jail sentencing.
Yeah, we had a case in the UK of 11, 12-year-old boy and his 21, 22-year-old teacher, and the teacher didn't go to prison at all because she was considered mentally immature or something.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, what? She fucked him, put her behind the bars to get fisted by that dirty Great Leather.
Or what about the other case not too long ago of the twin sisters who were both deaf, who molested a boy when he was 10 years old and then again when he was 15 years old, and this went on for a very long time, and the courts decided that because they were deaf, they would not serve any prison time whatsoever.
I can't.
Yeah, because everyone knows if you're deaf, then you're automatically retarded.
Yeah, it's not just that. It's the oppression points. They must have just knocked off the actual crime points. They got the median and realized, no prison time. Sorry. Thanks for playing.
Then there was a case that recently came up in the news that really surprised me. The woman did serve jail time. She was a female teacher who raped a little boy. But her defense was that it wasn't her fault because she's Muslim and she wore a burqa, and that it was her culture who raised her to believe that it was okay to have sex with little boys. Now, she served jail time, but instead of getting the minimum 5 years, the judge commuted it to 3 years because she's Muslim.
Oh, Herpa Derpa, so oppressed. Put her in prison.
Disgusting. About that, I was just like, great, have sex with everybody if you're Muslim, apparently.
And the next one here actually goes into that as well. If I'm a partner in crime with a man, I will likely be charged with lesser crime, even though I committed the same crimes, even if I was the ringleader. And there was a case in Canada, and I forget the woman's name, but basically this man and woman couple, they started with her sister, actually, and they raped her and videotaped it and killed her and did this with several other women. And at first, they couldn't find the videotape, so when they sentenced them, she claimed that she was forced into it, so she received a lesser crime. Then when the video came to light that, hey, she was actually the one who suggested that they rape her sister, and that she was the one who encouraged that they kill her, she wasn't given an increase in sentencing and was actually eventually released from prison.
I don't understand how people or the justice system thinks that women can't be psychopaths or sociopaths.
Mental instability is clearly only something men suffer with.
Yeah.
Because it's still this idea that women only do things because a man pushes them into it. That if a woman is violent, it's because a man is to blame. I mean, there's the video, What Would You Do?, where a woman is beating up a man out in public and next to no one does anything. In fact, they encourage it. And when they ask these people, well, why didn't you interfere? Why you clearly he's being attacked. It's like, well, I just assumed that he must have done something to piss her off. So it's perfectly justified.
I've seen that happen in my town here, and I've stepped in and said, you realize the police can arrest you, right? And it's okay. Oh, I'm a woman. Shut up. No one touches me. Shut the fuck up. I'm just going to call the police.
Oh, my God.
I'll hit you too. Good luck with that. You can't reach my chin, you midget.
Oh my god.
We need to have him back on the show. He's awesome. All right. We'll go through a couple more of these. I have the option to be outraged if my husband asks me if my behavior is due to PMS, and later on use PMS as a successful legal defense for murdering that same husband.
Did this actually happen?
I don't know if it did.
Hang on, I'm going to have a quick Google.
I could believe it, though, but I don't know for sure if it ever happened.
Husband due to PMS. Let's have a look. Verified PMS sufferer not guilty of killing husband in 1994. I'll give you the link in a second. It's in OrlandoSentinel.com. Hang on. Verifying PMS sufferer not guilty of killing husband. Oh, in Liverpool, England. Oh my! Took 2 hours to deliver a not guilty verdict for some lady who stabbed her husband with a kitchen knife after he took money from her purse. Well, clearly that's grounds for murder. Took my cigarette money. I fucking stabbed the cunt. But it's okay. I was bleeding too, so I'm not guilty.
Took money from her purse.
Wow.
When she stabbed her husband, she testified that he had slapped her and then impaled himself.
In 1994, there's a high chance I may have taken 20 pence out of my mother's purse. Do you know what she did? She hit me with a wooden spoon. Okay? She didn't stab me. Oh my god. Fucking hell. Overreact much?
I mean, the wooden spoon's an appropriate punishment. You just don't steal from your mother.
So that spoon looked like it was a fucking oar to a boat.
But fucking stabbing, I mean, my lord.
I really feel sorry for the guy, but I hope this woman is living in shame for what she did. Right? Over something so small, it's not worth it. I'm sorry. That must have been one hell of a emotional moment, turmoil, shit. Something.
Well, so yeah, I can't ever accuse modern Medusa of having PMS, but if she ever decides to kill me, she can get off saying I had PMS.
To be fair, she paid for the tip. She should get the tip.
I need some tips.
Oh shoot, I had you selected this whole time, modern Medusa.
Oh really? I haven't been doing anything at all.
Well, people have been enjoying the view, so sorry for that.
She's just been stretching and moving, posing in different ways.
Yep. Just being a total...
entertaining masses.
A total fucking... hoe.
So I'll do 18 and 19 together. At 18, I will not be forced to register for selective service and not be penalized for failing to do so. And 19, at a time of war, I will never be drafted and ripped from my employment, home, and family and forced to become a military slave. I don't know how that works in the UK, but in the United States, that's a very real possibility, especially right before the election when there was concern that we might actually go to war with Russia. People were talking about whether or not there'd be a draft again.
Obviously, we don't have selective service, but 19, yeah, it's likely. I was a bit curious, actually, during your election cycle, and this certainly, with people to sign up for the draft as well, I think that's what it was, right? I was wondering if girls would actually start to sign up then, or start to say, yeah, well, if Trump's in charge, he'll just send us, to war, and so we don't want to. I was sort of wondering how that was going to play out.
It came very close to actually ratifying the female draft. The House committee originally had a military appropriations bill, which always gets passed, so they try to put other bills with it that they want to get passed. And it was initially introduced, but then it was knocked down in the House. But when it went to the Senate, they put it back in and actually voted for it, for women to be on the draft. Well, because the two bills were technically different, then they had to have like a subcommittee between the House and the Senate to try to figure out, what they were going to do with this bill. Last I heard, they voted it down. I don't really remember that. But the excuse that was given, and I was so pissed off with Ted Cruz when he said this. He's like, I cannot in good conscience send my daughters off to war. And it's like, but you can send sons off to war? What about all of those parents that have to watch their children have to go off to war? And we haven't had a draft in 40 years, but that doesn't mean that we couldn't have one soon if, tensions continue to rise with Muslims, the left, or with Russia. But all of those parents that had to send their children off to war, they didn't have a choice because they were drafted.
Yeah.
And somehow their pain is less because it wasn't their daughters.
Logic astonishes me.
So honestly, I would want to do away with the draft altogether, except for the fact that in the United States, men have been required to sign up for the draft for 99 years. Next year will be a full 100 years. And women have never had that responsibility ever. And there have been more than 100 years to try to do away with it.
Yeah.
And no one has. Now, there have been some women that have tried to sue the government for not allowing them to sign up for the draft. I remember Hannah Wallen talked about being angry at the fact when she learned she couldn't sign up for selective service because she thought it would be fair that if men did it, women did it.
I think it's if men have to, then women should too. Personally, and obviously in that case, and that does then also make me think, do we need the draft?
But politicians actually started to consider whether or not we needed the draft the moment it became a possibility that women could sign up for it. It's like, do we really need it anymore? And it's like, you son of a bitches. You've been sitting on this for 100 years, and the only time you consider not doing it is when women might possibly be required to do it.
It does seem very, I don't. I think if you have the draft and it's not going to change, then not going to be removed, like the draft itself be removed, then women need to be able to sign up as well, or be able to sign up for it. I think for men and women. I don't really understand your system enough to be able to commit an answer to it.
Well, Warp Reflection says that men in the UK had to do national service for several years after the war.
Yeah.
That her father did it, but her mother didn't have to.
That makes sense. My family were carpenters and farmers and, so we didn't have to do shit.
Number 20, my feelings are more important than men's lives. Every precaution will be made to protect me from harassment at work. However, males will make up nearly 100% of workplace fatalities.
Yeah, that there's some sense to that. But then the harassment thing is still is an ongoing thing because not only have most of the main things been dealt with, there obviously are the isolated instances that need to be addressed, but they're isolated. They're not indicative of a trend. But then there are new things to moan about that could really be like done away with. Like, for example, the obvious air conditioning being sexist.
Yeah.
The fatality thing is pretty tragic. But I think that's also. I don't know if that's in the same workplace, or whether that's other occupations that women are not as involved in, like fishing or working oil rigs, construction, that not as much as men are, that is.
Well, the argument that I see against this whole thing is that these are jobs that don't allow women to work in them, and which is simply not true. Women are more than welcome to work in these jobs, but they have to perform the same standard that men do. Men are naturally strong, so obviously, working on an oil rig, that is perfect for a man to do because that job requires a lot of things that men can do. If a woman could do those same things, she's more than welcome to work there.
I do know a woman that works on an oil rig, and the pay for hers, pay for all of them, is amazing. But she is physically very, very strong and suitable for the job because she's very well trained for the job. But she's even told me she's the only one that works on it because there aren't many, are interested in that particular occupation.
Do you have her phone number? Because I'd like to ask her out. She sounds hot. I tease. But, well, and here's the thing is that fire departments are actually starting to be affected by this because the New York Fire Department got sued for $50 million because they don't have enough women on their force. Well, the problem is
lowering the bar.
Yeah, they've had to lower the bar that you can even fail the physical requirement test and still pass as a firefighter in New York City.
Do you know why? The whole point and the main sort of crux of the argument for that all was that there was a claim of was it New York City had to pay out over 90 million or something ridiculous in millions.
Yeah.
On discrimination charges. I'm sorry, that's not a good enough reason. It tells me you're clearly being too generous with the amount of money you're giving to people who are bleating on about how they're being discriminated against.
Yeah, it was some women's group that sued them saying that they don't have enough women on the force. And the fire department was forced to pay, I think it was $50 million, but it could have been 90. I don't remember.
Did you mention that video we reviewed?
Oh, yeah. We did a video on the first Cobra Cat. Cobra Cat! Sorry, I have to say that every time. Or there was a game show where apparently this female firefighter had to knock down a door, and she couldn't do it. She didn't have the strength to actually knock it down.
Oh,
training
facility. Crystal Maze.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember. That was hilarious when I was a kid watching that.
But you know what? If a woman can do it, more power to her. But she has to be able to do it to the same standards men do. And this isn't discrimination. It's a safety issue. I mean, we're going to have to make oil rigs beneficial to women to be able to do them? Like, this is the oil rig, just for women.
Yeah. I mean, in all seriousness, I'm the same with all the people who make these sandwiches. If a guy can't make it as well as a woman, I'm not going to accept it. Because
I make good sandwiches.
I'm just looking at this picture of you. Yeah, she can make me a sandwich.
Melody.
Anyways. 21. My gender controls 80% of domestic spending. We get to spend our money if we have any, and we get to spend men's money.
Didn't know that. Wow.
I don't share my money.
The majority of luxury apparel is designed, marketed to, and consumed by women.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who make articles about how retail is sexist because of luxury items and stuff like that. And it's like, you don't understand supply and demand. You don't understand marketing. You don't understand this is all being tailored to the majority. You are and you're doing my fucking head in.
Well, and they also make this argument about, girl toys and boy toys. Like, girl toys always are pink and boy toys are always blue. And, like, they put them in special section and girls feel like they have to buy from this section. And, places like Target has started to, like, not differentiate between boy, girls, and girl toys. And they still find girls are buying girl toys and boys are buying boys toys.
This will backfire easily enough anyway, because this was proven. I think it was in Toys R Us or something, in girls' neutral section, and eventually the girls mostly went to the pink and glittery section with the girls' toys, and the boys went to the boys' section. It's just something more guys find more interesting isn't the same as what girls find more interesting. You know, guys like I don't know what boys like these days. Fucking, I'm too old. It was proven that girls will find certain things guys don't like more interesting, and they're normally girly toys. Girls.
Well, and there was the whole complaint about, oh, well, they don't have enough female Star Wars action figures. And
Yes, you'll find so many.
But then they had female Ghostbuster toys that no one
in the clearance
bought.
section.
Actually, yeah, I saw the Ghostbuster toys in the boys section at Walmart.
Ghostbuster toys, right? Magnus sent me a few pictures of them, all in clearance zones.
God.
Yeah. Right. By the way, just to clarify, with Rey, a female protagonist, I don't care. Didn't like the film. I'm not a Star Wars fan anyway. I thought it was a rehash of the first film. And I don't care for Ghostbusters because no one wanted it and it was force-fed down our throats. No one cares. Although I did like some music.
And you know, this was an opportunity for these feminists, for these radicalized mothers. Like, hey, if we buy these toys, that will tell these companies to start making more of these toys for girls. And yet they seem to have no concept of capitalism, of supply and demand. If you create a demand, they give you a supply.
These people were the same ones constantly going on about women's representation, but when it came down to them, you know, like that moment to get involved, I guess, and go and see things, buy the merchandise, really help, you know, promote it a bit more. Their promotion, they didn't do it. They weren't there. So the film tanked, and merch is all in clearance. Hell, the Ghostbusters DVD, when it came out in my town, we put in the like two for £215 section rather than the brand new price. And they tried to spin it with some extra little video game perk or cards. It's not going to work because we didn't want the film. Why would I want to look at cards with Melissa McCarthy's bloody face on?
Oh my god. That's so
Mike
weird.
and Molly. I don't
That was her face? I thought it was her ass.
I couldn't tell the difference. It's really hard to tell.
It wouldn't have enough room on the card.
It was very somebody clearly rendered that image.
Okay, 24. I'm skipping ahead. I have a Department of Women's Health, whereas men have no such department. And 25. My gender enjoys more government spending on health than males do.
Yeah. In fact, I would say that men's health, because certainly my country, we just don't.
Well, in the U.S., they've estimated that Breast Cancer Awareness Month, or breast cancer, receives like 900,000 in government funds every year, but prostate cancer, which kills just as much, only gets like 300,000 a year in government money.
If you guys haven't seen my Pink October video, you should watch it because it's great. Oh.
I love that video. That's awesome. It raises up a lot of great concerns. It makes me laugh and scares the ever-living shit out of me. Just that you by the window smiling.
Yeah,
it's like, that is so creepy.
I need to bring that character back.
We've talked about 27 already. 28. When I divorce my husband, I will be guaranteed custody of my children unless I'm deemed to be unfit. Even if my husband is Parent of the Year 10 years running, it is unlikely he will get custody over me, even if I'm a mediocre parent.
In this country, I don't know if it's the same for you. Even if the mother is deemed mentally unstable, there's a chance the mother could still keep the kid if the father can't financially support the children. Even if he has to like pay out for her as well. You know, it's just ridiculous, the imbalance. And I'm working on a video on this at the moment because there is a oh, what's it called? Fucking hang on, give me a second because I've got the bloody. It's a gendered family courts bill. Someone sent me an article on it, and the article, it's a UK judges changing court rules. Now I have no issue with the rules, but it's the gendered nature around the fathers, and there are quite a few of them, and being pushed by an MP who is very well known in this country for being very sexist. Jess Phillips so much.
Well, here in the United States, it's pretty much starts with women getting full custody and have to work up to getting shared custody. But, you know, the only way a woman doesn't get custody of her children is either A, she's in prison, or B, she doesn't show up to the court hearing. A woman could be like selling her children into prostitution and could still get it. I heard of a case where a woman was in prison, so she didn't get custody of her children at all, but the moment she got out, they immediately granted shared custody.
They would never do that for a man in a million years.
No, they wouldn't.
There's some, I'm curious. I've seen a few of your prison documentaries on National Geographic, and they've got mothers that give birth in prison. If the father is unable financially on the outside to look after the kid, does he still get the kid, or does the kid go into social care?
I don't know on that one. I imagine they would go into social care.
That interests me. I have to look it
But
up.
in the United States, if that were to happen, I don't know. That is a good question.
Image looks like Medusa's fapping, right?
Yeah.
Because I am. Always.
Well, she always faps when, you know, talking to me.
Yep.
Because I've been doing it the whole time, mate, because of you.
It's that accent.
Here's a good one that's in support of the last one we just read. When I divorce, I can use false accusations of domestic violence, sexual molestation of the children, or abuse of the children to gain advantage during court proceedings. If I'm found out to be a liar, I can expect to get away with it with a minor prison sentence.
Sentence at all.
Yeah. Women have used this a lot to try to get custody of their children by saying that the father has sexually abused the children, even if there's no proof of that, and the courts will immediately file a restraining order on the idea that it could be true. And then, of course, when they go through the divorce, it's like, well, you have this restraining order, so obviously you're an unfit parent.
What's funny is that, like, if a guy, I don't know, I mean, I'm sure it's happened where it's been true, but if a guy tried to claim that a woman did all these things, they wouldn't believe him. And even if it was true, she'd cry, and then it's all over. Oh, I would love to see a case actually where a woman was proven to be abusive of the child. I'm sure it's happened before, but I would love to see like an example of that where they didn't get custody because they were abusive.
Well, there are rules change. There are some. It's kind of a shift in types of abuse with relationships. I'm hoping this seeps down to parenting as well, with the whole emotional abuse element being added to relationships. I'd like to see it being added to to that as well, because there are emotionally abusive parents who do rather well at manipulating their children and hurting them that way.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember of a case where a man got sent to prison because even though they were the man and woman was divorced, the mother convinced the daughter to say that she was sexually abused by the father, and the father ended up going to prison, and it was about 10 years later that the daughter, now grown up to be an adult, recanted the statement and say that her mother coerced her into it, and the state will not release him. So we definitely do see a lot of coercion happen. There was another interesting case that this father was trying to prove that the mother of their child, who got full custody, was very abusive to the child, and kept going to the court saying, I've got proof. You know, there are these marks, there are these this. And the courts wouldn't do anything about it. And then after the last time he did it, a few weeks later, the child was killed by the mother.
That's pretty sad. That is actually terrible. And
the father did everything he could to try to protect that child, but the state wouldn't let him.
That's terrible. I really feel sorry for them.
And, you know, the general excuse that's given by feminism over this issue is that these are deadbeat dads. They don't want to take care of the children. And that's not true. There are a lot of men out there who want to be a part of their children's lives, and the mothers and the state won't let them.
Yeah.
Yep. Women use children too much as a weapon. It's like they think they're playthings.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this fell out of my vagina. Let me manipulate everybody into doing what I want.
Honestly, I think it should be called Manchester syndrome, where you hurt the child to get more attention for yourself, because that's basically what it is. That they're hurting these children to use them as a weapon to get more for themselves.
Yep. It's very sad.
All right, we're going to do 2 more, and then we'll call it quits for today. Number 30. If a man calls me a slut, it'll probably hurt his reputation more than it hurts mine, but at any rate, the damage will be small and localized. However, if I call him a child molester or claim that he raped me, I can destroy him completely, and the damage may be nationwide.
Well, this is a long one. The slut one I don't really care about too much. The child molester and rape one I am very interested in, because there are some changes, but there is a thing about the court system in this country certainly still protects people like the wrongfully accused, the ones that make the accusations, the former victims who aren't actually victims. But then you've got the if they've been proven to not only lie or because of our rape law itself, they can't rape anywhere unless in the UK, certainly, a woman can only rape if she commissions a gang rape. That is our law. And I think last year we tried very hard to get a government petition to go through to Parliament to be debated. We only got 20,000 signatures, and they released a statement saying the current law is fine as it is. No, it's not. It's clearly gendered. It ignores obvious rules like made to penetrate and forcible envelopment. These are obvious talking points that get ignored, and it's been proven time and time again that the law has to change. I think Artface has just recently done another video on this same subject to try and get that petition to get some more steam again, because it does need to be talked about. There are clear child molesters, and we've already talked about it earlier. Teachers taking advantage and not going to prison for abusing kids. It is unacceptable. You belong in a prison for a very long time. When I was younger, and I remember I was talking to probably Magnus about this recently, and I was saying to him that 10 years ago, or was it someone else? Maybe Magnus, I don't know. I may have been drunk. 10 years ago when I was at university, I was asked, what would you do with a paedophile? Like, well, okay. male or female, 10 years ago, I said I'd want them put in solitary confinement with their genitals cut off behind some plexiglass so they could watch for eternity as their genitals rot.
Oh God.
Now I'm like, well, I don't really think rehabilitation works as much as it could, but I'm okay with life terms. Not whole life, but I don't know. It depends on the circumstance, of course. But it actually does destroy guys because there are rape case. Ched Evans, a footballer in the UK, accused of raping somebody, spent 2.5 years of a 5-year term in prison, got out, went through appeal. He didn't rape her. His career is over. A soccer player in the UK, I'll change it for you guys, get paid very well. I mean, thousands of pounds a week. And he's not earning that now. He's been ostracized. He's been, destroyed. He's playing football still, but at a lower level because his reputation is wrecked. And this isn't just him, but there are other cases in your country as well where this has happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it has destroyed the male. And when the female has, and like Ched Evans, the female victim, who wasn't a victim, is being protected. And there were feminists that were coming out with articles saying, her name keeps getting put online and she's no longer safe. She fucking lied, you cunt. Of course she's going to be attacked. The cunt lied and cost him 2.5 years of his life and his career. What the fuck do you actually expect going to happen? She's going to be doxxed and she's going to be attacked. I'm not saying it should happen. She should be prosecuted for false claims, which is what should have happened. That bitch should be in prison, and that applies to anyone that commits a crime.
And, we talked about this issue on Marta Medusa's channel on Tuesday with Magnus Deacon, but there was a case that happened in the UK, not as big as that one, but this man got accused of rape, but it was later found that he couldn't have done it. But because he was accused of being a rapist, his whole community, his family turned against him. And now he's forced to live in the woods. And he's married with children.
Oh, is he the guy that has to go and ask for permission to have sex?
I don't remember if that part.
There was a guy, a ginger guy, he had this wrongful claim, and it got overturned recently. Or it was overturned anyway, but he lives in the woods and he still has to tell the courts if he intends to have sex with someone, even though he never committed the original rape to begin with.
What?
Oh, I'll have to look it up and find it.
That is fucking weird.
It's pretty fucked up.
But has to live.
That sounds like some 1984 shit. You gotta write down
like
exactly when you're having sex and with who, and if they gave. Nah.
Imagine that. So Medusa, who are you intending on having coitus with?
Everyone, get ready.
Oh shit!
Does that include me? Am I on that list of everyone?
Everyone and everything.
Everyone.
Yes.
Giggity.
And let's go with our last one for today. If I fail at my career, I can blame the male-dominated society.
Patriarchy.
Yeah, there's some. I don't understand why some people do that, but then I live in an area where there's quite a high unemployment rate, and people who go to the job center, they do this thing where they look for anyone to blame for the circumstance but themselves, and I don't understand that mentality. I know for a fact my academic career was halted by someone that plagiarized my work. That person happened to be female, but do I blame them or do I blame the gender? No, I just blame the individual for being an absolute cunt.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't prove it because the university wanted money and they had more chance of getting it from her. Fine, moved on. I got on with my life because I don't care anymore. I want to earn money and fuck bitches and make money like the usual. Oppress them women's. But it is quite an odd thing that some people don't take responsibility for their own actions and instead look to other people to take the burden of responsibility away from you, as if suddenly that's going to make you feel better.
Yeah.
Well, and in psychology, we call this self-serving bias. God, I sounded like a snob just then. Anyways,
Snob.
It's self-serving bias, basically that you've got to protect your fragile ego. And part of that is you can't be wrong. Even if you did something wrong, it has to be someone else that did the actual wrong thing. That way you can feel better about yourself and go on with your life. But this is also something that happened with the news media after Trump got elected. They went on the air and said, you know what, maybe it was our fault of saying that, Hillary was a sure win. There was a 90% chance that Hillary could win, and that's why people didn't go out and vote. But they never actually said they were sorry for telling people that anyone who voted for Trump were racist, bigots, homophobic, sexists.
Mad Cat, shut up. It was all like, okay, there was a 90% chance Hillary would win. It was all the fault of the white man. Deal with it.
Yeah. And even the black people who voted
down.
were not actual black people. It was just white people with black skin.
Yeah. Just the fact they doubled down on that, it made me laugh so fucking much. And the DNC are doing so well right now, aren't they?
In fact, it was an Australian news program. I think it was like ABC, Sky, whatever, that actually said it's the media's fault that Trump got elected. It's the U.S. media. It was your fault. And I'm like, why am I not living in Australia? They seem to get it. Oh, yeah, because they're a bunch of cucks. But that one news entity didn't seem to have the right idea.
I do want to say something about this privilege, though. It kind of reminds me of how, like, sometimes Christians or superstitious people blame their shortcomings on, like, Satan or bad luck, or it's just all in God's plan. It's not their fault. It's Satan.
No, it's God's plan. Is one I've heard a few times from a few Jehovah's Witnesses down. I've got a Kingdom Hall down the road from me. I've heard that a few times.
Yeah.
It makes me laugh.
It makes me laugh, too. I hear it a lot.
The guy that gives me work as a Jehovah's Witness, a year ago, he realized a discrepancy in his accounts, right? HMRC, he took it to them from 10 years ago, right? He took it to HMRC. It was like a tiny tax discrepancy, right, from 10 years ago. And he took it to them honestly. They took every penny he had, which was like $100,000. And he said, oh, it was God's plan. I'm like, you fucking kidding me? Get fucked. Go to a financial ombudsman and get your money back, you dumb cunt.
Fuck God.
Yeah, fuck God. He didn't want me to get paid.
Right. Yeah, that's how.
I was
that's
triggered
how.
when that happened.
That was what like blaming the patriarchy reminds me of, saying that it's not my fault. It's this big conspiracy, whatever the fuck.
The myth, and yeah, I'll blame that. I do the same thing. Cons.
Well,
I'm gonna blame the thing that you can't prove wrong. Well,
and that's also something. When I was in the military, I knew some some airmen who were always breaking the rules and getting in trouble. And one day, one of them was speaking to me, and I should point out that one of them was black. Actually, several of them were black, but the kicker is that the person who was giving the punishment was also black. But, he was talking about, the reason why he was always getting in trouble, and then he pointed to his wrist, indicating because he was black, that's why he was getting in trouble. And it's like, no, you idiot! You're getting in trouble because you keep doing stupid shit. Like, he one day snuck into a girl's barracks room, which you're not supposed to do as a male. He went in there and had sex with her. Gee, I wonder why you got in trouble. It wasn't because of your race. It was because you did stupid shit.
No, he got in trouble because he broke up with his massive cock.
Didn't do nothing.
Black guy privilege.
But remember, Mad Cat, when I told you about the girl who blamed her getting in trouble for her low-cut shirt because the school's sexist?
Kind of.
We actually we have a school in the UK in Margate, and you can look this up. The head teacher is so rigid on school rules. He has sent so many girls home. Some guys as well when they've broken the uniform code, but a lot of girls who have tried mini skirts,
Yep.
anything above the knees or without tights, or anything that breached the code or showed too much skin,
Hmm.
get changed, go home. And the parents are like, "Oh, you can't do this. We'll protect our children. You can't do this. Go home. You as well. You're not wearing a uniform either."
That's how it was in my school.
I now know why the child was dressed like this.
Well, and you know what? It's the child's responsibility at this point, but also the parents. They know the rules.
Is it wrong that I like wearing
this?
this?
Like came out of nowhere. They probably signed like a billion-page document saying, "I will make sure my daughter's skirts are below the knees."
I liked my school uniform. I was very proud of it. I had a nice tie, and I was so proud. And I was a proper SWAT at school. Deal with it.
See, I actually,
In fact, that's where
I got away with
Sorry.
a lot of stuff. Honestly.
What was the teacher's name, and where did he touch you?
Well, it was like in high school, so I had like multiple teachers, but like
That's not a good thing. I could say slut right now.
I had skirts that would like only go down to here maybe. I think it was just because I was really skinny and you couldn't really tell. But after I started getting like taller, they like I would wear the
You
skirt.
didn't buy new dresses, no?
But no, like I would grow taller the next year, and then they'd be like, "Oh, you can't wear that now." And then I would wear like shirts like this, and nobody would say anything. And then other girls would get in trouble, and then some like if girls were wearing spaghetti straps or whatever they're called, then they would have to change. But then if a guy had like a shirt with the sides cut open all the way down, that's all right.
Oh yeah. We
I
had
don't
this
see a problem with it, but the school is kind of fucked.
My old secondary school had this, or what you'd call a high school. Actually, most of my country call high school. I don't know why most called secondary. It doesn't matter. They brought out this new blouse, and it was for girls, and it was ridiculous. It was so that girls didn't have to wear ties. So we had a white shirt, and our tie was navy with a golden little diagonal stripes going down it, very thin stripes. The girls had this blouse. Problem was, even though it was mandatory they wear it, the thing was so feeble. The buttons would always pop. So if any girl had any kind of breasts, now that top's coming off, right? And it was also the thinnest white sort of fabric ever. So if they ever got stuck in the rain, they may as well have been topless. But the school kept this and has kept it to this day. I was like, oh my God, you're basically encouraging them. Stop it.
Wow.
Wow, if we go back
Buy
20
uniform.
years and go to that school.
Right.
Because now it would just be sad if I went there. And illegal.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that's going to do it for us today. Is there any final thoughts you want to give on this female privilege checklist?
It's astonishing how long it is.
Well, it's funny with as long as it is that I gave the author like a suggestion of 20 more to add on there.
Really?
But,
There's just a lot of privileges that women have in this world that they claim they don't.
I do like spew all day that men have privilege and females don't, but there's 32 of them right there.
And being a female, Modern Medusa, do you feel that these are on point, or do you think that maybe they're like exaggerated?
I didn't feel like they were exaggerated at all. It seemed pretty unbiased, in my opinion. But I mean, obviously, it's not like all women, because that would be retarded to assume. But
hashtag all
I mean, the
women.
majority. But like the majority of women under most of those categories, especially, you know, if they've had experience with children and divorce and sugar daddies and all that shit. Like, I mean, it's obvious that have advantages and take advantage of them and manipulate them to gain more advantages, and while still remaining victims. Yeah.
Well, I think that's a good assessment. I mean, Donald Trump, you know, when being criticized for doing all of these things that he's done over the years as far as business, he's like, it was allowed. Of course, I'm going to do it. Even though I'm against them, of course I'm going to do it. I mean, I would be stupid not to. So, yeah, women would be kind of stupid not to take advantage of the system if it greatly benefits them, but then I kind of lose respect for them when they do. So,
well, I lose respect for them
because you don't take advantage of these systems, and you easily could. You have nice tits.
Yes. But no, like, even if they do take advantage, even if they do take advantage of them and then admit to it and own up to it, I think that's semi-respectful, as long as you're like, yeah, I do this shit because, you know, I'm a woman and I can, you know, that's fine. But don't fucking turn around and be like, no, I'm a victim, patriarchy, rape culture, fucking, I don't have any privilege at all. You know, like,
I guess it depends on what privilege they're taking advantage of and willing to admit to. I mean, if it's like, you know, I let guys buy me drinks. Well, that's not really girls' fault that guys are so willing to do that. I guess I can't blame a girl for taking advantage of that. But if she says, oh, well, I said that my ex-husband raped me so I could get custody of the children, and of course I took advantage of that. I didn't want
that would be fucked up.
Then
no,
I'd be like, no,
anything illegal? Nah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us today. I thank everyone for coming into the chat room today. Thank you, Omegon, for this last-minute thing here. It's been a great pleasure to have you on the show.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure to be on. Thank you very much for the invite and for moving it when I had to go and work.
Well, of course. I'm not a monster. I'm not the monster feminists say I am. But we should be doing a show this Tuesday on Modern Medusa's channel. So just type up Modern Medusa. She'll be the first one that comes up. Or I do think I have her. Yeah, I do have her channel down in the description below. You will also find Omegon's channel as well. I posted it there. I keep wanting to put a D in that word, and I'm just like, why am I doing that?
Tiki Bomber, back when I first started my channel, she called me that, and that was around the time I met Undoomed, and he calls me Oregon, and he has done ever since because of an autocorrect. And then I found out my autocorrect changed Undoomed to Undimmed, so that's stuck. Like, fuck you. Gotcha.
This is why I don't use autocorrect. I'm my own autocorrect. All right, but check out my description box down below. Consider donating to my Patreon if you like the work that I do. I am trying to raise money so I can get myself insurance, so I can actually try to get some sort of adequate treatment for myself. Government treatment is not that great. I'm also trying to get money for a computer so I can make better videos, so I can work for the Patreon donations, as my computer is really on its way out. Not comfortable doing Patreon, consider buying my book. There's a link down below for that one. First one's free. The one that comes like 1 month after that, and the storyline's only $2.99, about vampires in medieval France, bubonic plague, the corrupt pope. It's all fun stuff. But it's also about 5 male characters. There is not even like a secondary female character in that story. So it's really out there for the men. So also hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, go to Omegon's channel. Ooh, I said it right. Follow him, although he has more than enough followers, so, you know, maybe not follow him.
No, I'm massively undersubbed, and I would like more. No kidding. I'm oversubbed by however many subs I have.
You deserve it. You do great stuff.
Thank you very much.
So it's always a delight.
I discovered you with Hagbard Celine. At the same thing.
He's so cool.
Too. Yeah, it was awesome having you on. You should come to my show.
How's your snake, by the way?
He is lovely. He's right over there in his little cage. I just need to feed him, so I don't want to get him out just yet.
I haven't seen the snake in a while. What's up with that?
I'm just lazy.
Are you going to feed him a cockroach?
Oh God, yeah, the one that I found last night. Oh God.
Maybe just stick with them. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what we do to rapists. We feed them to snakes.
Yeah. Oh my God.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. We'll see you on Tuesday and then Thursday of next week. This is Dix.
I'm boobs.
And you're supposed to say Cthulhu.
What he just said.
Yeah. Everyone have a good day.